Spot welding custom batteries for DIY projects, this time on Hack 5. Hey everyone, Glytch here and welcome back to Hack 5. Now I've been meaning to do this video for a while and some of you have been asking where it's at. We're going to dive right into it. To effectively build batteries, you need a spot welder. Now normally this is a device that sits on your bench and plugs into a wall and uses quite a lot of power in a very short period to spot weld batteries. First off, this equipment takes up space, uses a lot of power, and as such it's difficult to use in a van. However, recently I came across this thing. Now this is a little black box that is basically a couple of lithium batteries that we're going to use to spot weld other lithium batteries. It's kind of like Avengers, where he used the stones to destroy the stones. But all joking aside, this thing's charged by USB-C. It's pocket size, though I don't know that I'd want to put it in my pocket with the probes on there. Is that a spot welding probe in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Now in this video, we're going to be keeping things very simple and making a 1S pack or a 1-cell pack. When you see 1S, that means 1 cell. When you see 2S, that means 2 cells. Specifically, it means 2 cells in series. So when you have multiple batteries in series, basically positive, negative, so you can get a higher voltage, you need to have something called a BMS, or battery management system. We will get into this in the next video. I want to keep this episode very simple and build a 1S pack. Now, what use is a 1S pack? Well, if you remember back to when I was making those ESP32 cameras, those used a single cell charged by a USB module, and I just soldered directly to those batteries, which, as I said earlier, you shouldn't do. It works in a pinch, but it's not a safe or good practice. What you should do is something that you might see in some popular products if you've ever taken things apart that have 18650 cells in them. They will weld a tab to either end of the battery, and then they will solder to those tabs. This prevents heat from going directly into the battery and causing damage. This also makes for a rather clean package because you can fold the tabs over, have the cables come out the side, and put heat shrink over it, and job done. It's a professional looking cell. So what do we need? We need a spot welder. We need some 18650 cells. Now these were salvaged out of recycled laptop batteries, and I capacity tested them. Again, we'll cover that in the next video. You will also need some tabbing wire. Now this is nickel strip. It is not nickel plated. You want nickel strip, ideally. Plated will work in a pinch, but its welding capability isn't as good, and neither is its current carrying capability. You also want some tweezers or maybe some pliers, ideally insulated from the tip up, because you will be using this near electronics, of course. And you will want some kind of cutting implement to cut the tabbing wire. You should have some kind of insulation tape, electrical, Kapton, something. And you should also have a soldering iron, solder, and appropriate diameter heat shrink tubing or something else to wrap the battery when it's all said and done. So the first thing we'll do here is take our battery. This one actually hasn't been capacity tested, so we take our battery. Now, since these are salvaged, they have these little burrs that you might be able to see from previous tabs that were on here. You can take a very fine file and file those down so you have a much better contact surface for welding. However, I'm going to skip that and it will still work all right. You want to take your tabbing wire and a pair of scissors and give yourself about an inch. 2 1-inch long pieces. Now I'm just using scissors. Nickel is soft enough. You can use snips, but I found that I get cleaner cuts using scissors. You'll then want to take your spot welder and power it on. Now that blinking light there tells me that it's going to do 1 pulse. I want 3 pulses. I found that seems to work the best for this particular tabbing wire. If you use a thicker or thinner tabbing wire, you will probably want thinner, more or less current going through. Now, oh, I did forget a step here. You want to take your electrical tape. Now, in my case, I have a very compact soldering kit, so my tape is on the end of a pin. Let me know down below if you would like to see a video on my very compact soldering electronics kit that I use to do all my work in the van. Now we're taking a couple pieces of electrical tape here, and this is just extra insulation on the side. Now some of you may know that 18650 cells are all metal, and this whole metal area is the negative pin, and then this tab button up at the top, that's the positive. So if for some reason this folded over piece were to rub through this insulation, whether that's vibration or something happens, it gets crushed, then that means you now have your positive tab directly contacting the side wall. So ideally you'll use a couple layers of electrical tape, or you'll use a piece of cardstock. If you've ever taken apart a consumer device using one of these cells, there's usually a couple different layers of stuff in here to prevent any potential shorting issues. Now once that's done, you will want to hold your cell upright. You might want to use a 3D printed or a roll of tape or something, some kind of stand to hold your cell to make it a little more stable. However, I'm just going to do it like this. You'll take your tweezers, because this tabbing wire will get a little warm, and you will hold it like this. Make sure you hold it relative to your tape so that when you fold it over, it's actually covering. As I said earlier, this is an automatic spot welder. So it will, upon sensing continuity, activate its welding stuff. It will send current to the probes. So you want to make sure you have everything in the appropriate position, and you want to make sure these two tips don't touch each other. I don't want to know what happens if... It does take a little bit of skill to hold the tips in the appropriate way, as you saw me juggling with them earlier. I may 3D print a probe holder, a wedge piece that holds the probes in the appropriate angle. However, for now, I'm making this work. Now, this is the tricky part. You want to hold the tab here, and then you want to apply a certain amount of pressure. Too much pressure, and it will conduct too well into the battery. Nothing bad will happen, you'll just get a weak weld. Too low pressure and you'll get sparks, which are more scary than anything. They won't usually cause any harm, but it is also indicative of a not good weld. What you want to see is a little orange glow, and that means the metal's actually melted a little bit and welded to the battery. It takes a certain level of pressure, but not too much. So I'm going to hold the tab here, and I usually do 2 welds. This is where that little bit of skill comes in play. And there we go. Not the cleanest looking welds, but I'm not a machine. And you can take your tweezers and pull on that a bit just to make sure you got a good weld. And I did. It will either fall off or it's a good weld. And now you can fold that down like so. And now you can repeat on the other side. This can be a little more difficult as you have this tab at the other end that is now kind of offsetting the center of the battery. So again, using a roll of tape or something to support your cells is usually a good idea. Usually you want to get the welds a little closer together than that. And there you go. Good spot weld. So now at this point, all you have to do is solder a couple wires here, run your connector out one way or the other, or down the center, depending on what your needs are. Wrap it up either in Kapton, electrical tape, or if you want to get really fancy, you can get the appropriate size heat shrink. And there you go. You now have a 1S battery that you can connect to a TP4056 battery charging module, or directly into your project if it runs directly on 3.7 volts. There's a bunch of options. This is the right way to do it. Now, obviously, this was just an introduction into the equipment you need to do this kind of thing. In the next video, we'll be getting a little fancier, making both a series and a parallel pack, and explaining what you might need for a given situation, such as balancing or charging off of a RC-type charger. Custom lithium packs allow so much flexibility in a given product. You aren't just locked into using a USB battery bank for your Raspberry Pi, or some off-the-shelf AA's or something for your Arduino project. This really increases the flexibility and the usability, as well as minimizing the space needed on a given project. It's how I was able to do the ESP32 cameras and build custom batteries for robots. So like I said, it's a very cool capability to have, and I wanted to share it all with you. Thank you all for watching. I've been Glytch. This has been Hack5. Glytch out.
Thanks for supporting Hack5. Find all our shows, community, and pen test products at hack5.org.